Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show. Don't touch that dial, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, we got a great show here today, all right? And it's something that's going to bring you back to your childhood, your school days, you know. And then we'd say, that's the bell when school would start. You remember, this bell came from St. Patrick's School. That closed up years ago. And the nun, the last day of school, she called me, says, you can have this, because I was a safety officer. And I anytime I have any guests that are teachers or anything to do with school's now in session. Okay, now, my guest today, ladies and gentlemen, from Gotwals School, Norristown, Pennsylvania. And then you're going to hear a lot of good things about Gotwals. I attended Gotwals School when I was, elementary. I went to Roosevelt School, I went to Rittenhouse School, I went to Stewart. They kept closing the schools down and open or whatever, I don't know. And I dropped out when I was in 8th grade. And I went to Stewart, right? That's when the last school I attended was, I went to Rittenhouse, Stewart. I dropped out at 8th grade. And I became a policeman. That's all you needed, an 8th grade education at the time, 1952. And so education was a big thing. After 14 years in the police department, somebody whispered in my ear, you better get an education, you better get a diploma, because if you want to do anything after you retire, it's good to have that diploma. Put that in your pocket, and it's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm all for education, especially in the elementary. If you get a good elementary education, you can move on. And I'm so thankful that some of the elementary teachers that I had, and they didn't have, I went to parochial school too. I went to Holy Savior. And the nuns over there, they give you a little buffazza in Italian. That's a backhand, And I remember one nun, her name was Sister Perpetual Pain. That's right. We would see that fast left hook, boom, boom, But there were good days, and I learned more, maybe with little buffazza, and maybe, I don't want to say that we should have that today, but every once in a while, give them attention. We'll talk about that later. But ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is the principal of Gotwals School, and her name is Mary Ann Hoskins, right?
Hoskins.
And a lead teacher, Joe Rodriguez. Welcome to the Cisco Show.
Thank you, Hank.
Now let's tell these people what we got here in Norristown. I'm so proud of the schools in Norristown. We're here in Norristown High School. We got a TV show that's, now we go to Delaware County. We got Comcast. We got Verizon. People are watching this show. So let's start right off there. What are we so proud of?
Well, I think there's so much to be proud of at Gotwals. This is my 4th year, starting my 4th year there as principal. I've been with the district for 24 years, but this is my 4th year there as principal.
Where are you from?
Originally,
Yeah.
Media.
Where?
Media, Pennsylvania, Delaware County.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're down there. Tell your friends that watch this show. Verizon, 45.
There we go. And I think, going to Gotwals, it was definitely a challenge to go to Gotwals. The school, really, we've done a lot in repainting, and we've had some grants that have helped us out.
I go in there, it's like Joyland. I'm really, there's so much activity. And the teachers are so involved. I mean, really.
Absolutely.
I'm not, hey, look, I'm telling the truth, okay? I swear to tell the truth. I tell the truth, right? Okay, go ahead.
That was it. And in going there, I think one of the things is that everybody looks at, and you always hear across the district and everybody, because it gets published in the newspaper every year, is about the Pennsylvania State Assessment, the PSSA, and whether you make adequate yearly progress, also known as the AYP. And I'm really happy to say that, Gotwals for the last 4 years has made their adequate yearly progress on the PSSA. And that's really a challenge in a school where so many of our children are second English language learners.
Right.
So we have a real challenge, and they come in at all varying levels at different times. And that's been, so it's a very diverse group of students. And right now, the population is just a little more Latino than it is African American, but it is.
Well, that's what I like. I like diversity. I like to talk to an Irishman, Italian, a Polish, Afro-American, Asian, whatever, I don't want everybody to look blue eyes and blonde hair or all brown eyes. Come on. I like the diversity. It's the same thing. I go into a restaurant. I like this little bit, a little pasta fazool, a little bit of ravioli. That's what makes a nice meal.
Absolutely.
And the old story is All sunshine makes deserts. So you have to have all kinds of rain, snow, hail, and they have a beautiful garden. You can't have all sun. If you have all sun, you'll be in the Sahara Desert. Who lives out there? Nobody. Okay. Now, but let me say, I know you'll tell so much, but you have to surround yourself with good teachers.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't that the name of the game?
Absolutely, absolutely. Not only just my teachers, the entire staff.
Right.
From your custodial staff and your cafeteria
Right.
to your office workers.
Right.
You know, everyone has to be totally dedicated
And you
to
have
those children.
you have a right-hand man
I
here.
do.
He's the
Absolutely.
best.
He is.
Jim Holton, the former superintendent of school, he says, Hank, he says, this guy's got the whole world in front of him there. He's really devoted man and educated, and he's right there. Anytime you need any help or so, he's there to help you. Joe Rodriguez, you're the lead teacher. What's a lead teacher? They didn't have him when I went to school.
A lead teacher works with a lot of the disciplinary issues in the school, but we've been fortunate where I could do a lot more than just work with disciplinary issues. I can help out Mrs. Hoskins with different initiatives, like working with our parents and getting them involved in our school.
Right.
Working with partner places, like we have partnerships with colleges and universities in the area. So I can coordinate that effort so they can come on in and help us with some of our Spanish-speaking families. They can come on in and they provide some tutor opportunities for our students. And so they benefit from it, and our students benefit from it.
Right.
So it allows me to do some other things, community involvement, looking at other businesses and organizations like Verizon, and
Right.
working with Verizon to help our students out. They provide an opportunity for our students to get new books. They come out, read to our students.
Verizon.
Verizon.
That's our show, Channel 45, Verizon.
Verizon. They come
Okay.
out and they read to our students, and then they leave all of our students brand new books. We have the Rotary, the local Rotary here.
Rotary, okay.
They provide an opportunity for our students to have new dictionaries, Spanish and English dictionaries, that they provide for our students.
They also have contributed to a summer reading program, and they put
Summer,
up the money.
when schools ends in
When
June, you
school's
have a
out,
summer program.
We do. We have 2 days a week, 2 mornings a week, and the Rotary members come and volunteer their time to read with our students, and they also did the purchasing of all the books that we were able to provide. So children are actually, it's like a lending library. They come in, they can take a book home with them, and at the same time, they get somebody to sit and read with
Great,
them there
great.
and everything else. So they've been a great partner of ours.
Some of the highlights of the achievements. Tell me some of the, we want to talk about, I'm a former professional boxer. When the guy comes up to me and say, how many fights you have, and I tell him how many fights. I say, how many did you win? I mean, why do they ask you how many you win, Or how many did you lose? Or, or when I was in the Army, I'd be home on leave and say, oh, yeah, Humphrey, when you leaving? I just got here. So come on, tell me.
Well, I think this is the 3rd year in a row that we will have been named a Keystone School of Achievement, which means that you've been able
Run that by me now.
a Keystone School of Achievement, which means that you have made the adequate yearly progress at least continuously 2 years in a row. So we've been able to do it for 4 years.
No
So
kidding.
that's a state designation. And then the other thing is we are a Title I school. And Title I means that
What's
you're-
Title I? I don't know what Title I is.
Title I is a federal program that provides funding for students or schools that have poverty. And we certainly
Yeah,
have.
we got
have
poverty there, too.
And so we qualify as a Title I school. And we were just notified that we have been named the National Title I School of Distinction this year. So we're going to be hopefully going to Washington in January to work on some things and meet the other schools.
Washington,
across-
D.C.?
Yes.
You going to go there?
We
You
hope.
going to meet the president?
I don't know, they didn't tell us.
Well,
that.
how about the ambassador? You can meet me. I'll go over there.
We can always need somebody to go along with. So we were really excited that, there's
That
things
is
that
great.
are going on that
I'm
really
glad to
are
call
very.
Stan Husky. Hello, Stan. Okay. Let's get the people, let our offense be our defense. Let's tell the people what we're doing good. I put, 24 years in the police department, and I worked in the district attorney's office for 12 years. And Norristown seems to have like an image, and we got to erase that image. And we want people to know what's going on in the school, not only in Gotwals, but I'd say that's an exception right now because you're really doing an exceptional job. But all the schools in the school district are doing good, and that's good to hear. And we want to find our wings, well, people know, right?
That's absolutely right. I think another initiative that actually became Joe's baby too is a character program. And so when you came into the front hallway the other day,
Oh,
there
yeah.
were character traits that
That
were
was a career.
painted on
Right.
the walls. So really teaching the children about respect and
Right.
responsibility and you know, that's a really hard and a big issue, especially for very young children. But I think with
Teach them
Joe
respect.
Joe and the staff have really done an excellent job, because when the children, if they get in trouble, which isn't so much anymore, but they will often say things to you like, I know I wasn't being respectful, or I know that I
Right,
wasn't
right.
very caring when I did. So we know that they've internalized those traits, which is
It's
really
pretty-
what we want to happen for them. So that's very good for young
Yeah,
children.
it's pretty hard to teach respect,
It
right?
is.
I think it has to come from home. I had to just put this little, my parents, my father, my mother could read and write. My father couldn't. He was a shoemaker. Everybody was a shoemaker. Came from Sicily. And my mother used to write letters. People used to come to the house, she'd write letters and everything. And my father, like I said, he only went to first grade, so my mother used to read and educate him, reading the newspaper Progresso. And she read a little English too, you know. She was high school, and the equivalent of high school in Italy was like college. So my father, one day, I guess I was 6, 7, and I was, hey, I tried to get my father's, hey. He got nice and close to me, right then, boom, he gave me a buffazza, okay? That's a backhand. He says, you don't say hey to me. I'm your father. You say pop, father. You don't say hey. Hey's for horses. You understand? Yeah. Okay, pop. So I put my hands up, right? So it's just a little bit of I learn respect. I mean, there's different ways of learning, And like I say, I don't say around slapping everybody, but that's the way I learn. And then I think that and if you can teach it, you can get that across to them. I think that's all respect for other people's property, respect for the law, for the police officer, respect for the courts. They don't have respect, and they go out and do the same thing. They go on probation, and they get back again. Respect for the judges, and respect for your mother and father. So if you have that, you got it, and that's what you're doing in your school.
We really are working very hard on trying to make sure that our children understand and have internalized it, that it's not just words to them, that they actually know when to use it and how to use it, and what would be the best way to do things. So we've been very fortunate
Joe,
that way.
You're a special, talented person, okay? What are some of the things that you do or you like to do, or you see that's on the horizon, the front burner, back burner, what? What are some of the things that you think?
Well, this year what we did was, the school district talked about we want to promote higher education. We want our students to start thinking about college and universities. And so at elementary school, we said, how do we do that? How do we get elementary schools to think about that? So what we did was, if you walk into our building now, many of our hallways have, they're named now. Like we have University Row, and we have College Avenue, Junction Way, and Technology Way. And then our classrooms are named after different colleges and universities throughout the country. It worked out.
These words.
Right.
It was fantastic. As a matter of fact, we had one first grade classroom called Cheney University. Cheney University, the institution, called us and said, we want to bring your children to our university.
Where's they located?
They're located out in Chester
In Chester County.
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 And they brought our kids down, so we sent first graders and some of our fourth graders down to Cheney University, and they got to spend a day at Cheney.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right,
Cheney
My
University.
hearing aid's not hitting on all cylinders today.
So it turned out fantastic for us. So every classroom is the name of a college or university. Our hallways are designed like academic institutions. We even went as far as to do our offices. So I have the dean of students, and Mrs. Hoskins is the university president, because we want them to hear the language. We want them to experience it.
Right.
And it's been fantastic.
How about this pardoning, getting together, relationship with tell me something about that.
Well, I think too, with our colleges especially, we've done, Bryn Mawr College has a good partnership with us, where they have done a lot of people that they've placed in the school to help us. They work with different students. They've worked with mentoring. They've worked with our guidance counselor. So they've been a really good partner. We also have Cabrini sends in students to mentor our students as well. And I think our biggest...
My granddaughter goes to Cabrini.
Right.
Yeah, she's a second year there, I think.
I think our largest one, and one that has really been most helpful to us right now, has been the University of Pennsylvania. And when we have conferences for parents,
When they help you, what do you mean by you help?
well,
What
when
do
we
they
have
do?
conferences for our parents, because so many of our parents speak Spanish, they will send out about 12 graduate students, so that when a parent walks in the door, a graduate student will go with them and say, do you need an interpreter, and go with them to the classroom, so that they know everything that's happened at that conference and are able to get their questions answered as well. So that's been one of the biggest pluses, I think. They've also been doing some research about the Latino community in and around Norristown, using Aclamo, using Gotwals,
Right.
And they've been interviewing certain families and following those families for a couple years to find out how are they doing with integrating into the school system, what are the parents' expectations. So that kind of information is very valuable to us in
Sure.
knowing how to make a connection
Right.
and really what their expectations of us are as well. This year, there's been a grant with the University of Pennsylvania that we started at the end of last year to begin a Latino parent club, and that originally was designed to try to find a way to make sure our Latino parents feel that they are a part of Gotwals,
Right.
and not let the language be the barrier. So University of Penn has several professors that come out and they work with our Latino parents on Wednesdays or Thursday afternoons. And for about an hour, and we have some of our teachers then who come in and then work with the parents to help them understand what's everyday math, why does it work this way, how can you do your homework with your child, anything that the parents would need.
And getting the parents involved.
Absolutely.
Because the different customs or whatever you want to call it, the traditions or whatever,
Right, it's a challenge at
Yeah.
Gotwals because you want everybody to feel a part of one
Yeah.
community, but you
Right.
have two very diverse
Right.
communities here, and you want to make connections here. I think the one thing that we learned from this was when they surveyed the parents who came to the meetings, the thing that they wanted most, and we thought probably it was homework help, and we were even willing to go like on immigration issues, bring people in for
Right.
that. The number one thing they wanted to do was learn English, and that wasn't something we had actually had thought about at the time that we would want to do. There are a lot of agencies and other places in the community that you can learn English, but since they were with us, we felt we needed to do something. So this year, I happened to have some Title I money, and I purchased 23 laptop computers.
Wow.
And we're able to use those in the program, and so the parents can get on for a
Get
half
them-
hour
Get them
before
involved.
to
Right.
start learning the English language.
In the Army they say an informed nation is a peaceful nation.
Mm-hmm.
Be informed, and an informed nation is a healthy nation, know how to eat, what kind of pills to
Right.
take and all that stuff.
That's right.
So this is, how about some of your challenges? What's some of the challenges for, here's a school, and when I went to Gotwals School, I grew up on Chestnut Street, it was one block over, 29 East Chestnut, right? Same block on Chestnut Street. I played in the back at the old Gotwals School, and it was a little different. The teachers, were there with just one classroom, and there was the blackboard, the teacher's desk, and no telephone. I don't think they had a telephone in school at the time, if I remember. And so, but now I went into Gotwals School. My God, it was everything there. I mean, it's just like tell kids, you go in the supermarket, and you push cart, and you go and put food in there, put the food in, so when you get to the checkout counter, you got some food. Don't go pushing around and nothing. Then when you get to the checkout counter, nothing. You go to school, you sit there and don't put anything in there. You checkout counter, you're empty. So you got everything here for them. You got the latest technology, I guess,
We're
right?
trying. We're absolutely
And
trying.
what are some of the things the challenges like?
Well, and I think that's some of our challenges because we
Like
try
the
to,
language barrier, everybody would be concerned with that because of the diversity you got there.
and that was a challenge, and then now I think we're addressing it with the support of our partners.
How you address something?
Well, for example, we talked about our parent conferences. We have the college students that come on in and ensure that these parents have the ability to talk with their teacher to find out what their students doing in their home language so that they're clear what the expectations are, how well their student is doing. They hear that information and they're getting it through their language. So that's been something that we've been able to overcome. We still have it because we don't always have someone available to translate. So that's still a challenge and it'll continue to be one. But like you said, we have so many things.
Are they want to learn English? They
Absolutely.
really want to get involved? Right?
Absolutely.
Well, that's a lot. People should know that.
Absolutely.
People think that, well, I know myself, when I go to another city, and when I went to Italy, I mean, I couldn't speak all the language. I knew a little bit. I'll tell you the truth, more you learn all the bad words first. I don't know, it's every nationality. But I couldn't communicate, and learning how to communicate and how to teach to communicate, that's important. A guy like you are able to convey that, and you have the respect of the people, and that's
Right.
most important. And that's what the school has right now. You have the respect to do it.
I think another group.
What makes Gotwals School? What makes it?
I think it's the staff, the students, the parents, the community that comes in. We've hosted this year the dinners with
Family services.
Family Services is now
Right.
using Gotwals, so we had a lot of people in that way. I think there's some things that going on. We've been able to retain a lot of grants. So we've had ones that built a playground area. There had never been any grass at Gotwals. It was only macadam, and so we were able to obtain a grant that
Okay, grass.
actually put grass down, and that was through the National Education Association. And they painted the walls and the trim.
Don't eat the grass.
They did. They redid the faculty room for the teachers, so they would have a nice environment.
Oh, sure. I mean,
They did our
gotta
bulletin
keep everybody
boards.
happy. I mean, just keep
They
the
replaced
students happy.
walls. I mean, they just did everything to try to give us a really good, safe, healthy, and inviting environment
You know,
for our children to stay in.
I was invited to that career day. Was that what it was?
Yes.
Career day with Stan Husky.
Yes.
And I said, now I do a lot of speaking, at Kiwanis clubs and international police, and I was very fortunate in my police career to travel. And but let me tell you, get before second grade or third grade, it's the toughest.
They're a tough audience.
You get up there and talk to the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they don't look at it. So what I used to do when I was a police officer, I'd get their attention, and I'd say, all right, everybody, put your hands up here like this, ready, okay, boop, 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 do, okay, great. So when I tell you stop, 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 oh, hands out, slap them together, fold, put them on your lap, okay. So I had everybody sit with their hands in their laps. And then I had a little single song, Never Cross When the Light is Red, in the tune of London Bridge is Falling Down. And then I would get a little trick. I'd say, now, boys and girls, when you get to the corner, you got to look to the left, you got to look right before you cross the street, okay? Because cars come around, they come before, they come before you didn't even know that the car's moving so fast. So you got to be very careful, right? Now watch, I'm going to give a trick. Okay, boom. Where is it? One here. Okay, it's over here. It's over here. Ready? Okay, ready? Boom. Right. Then I go real slow. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. Which hand's in it? It's gone. Okay. I said, see, things happen so fast. So that's why when you get to the corner, you got to look to the left, to the right. So it's up here. They all want to know where it was. I had to show them the trick. I said, well, like this, and I put it over here. So I scored a big hit. So this quarter, I borrowed from the teachers. Will you take it back to her? I don't know what.
We'll need that quarter.
All right, tell me about your staff. Tell me what you have, what kind of staff. As a police officer, the chief of police, the lieutenants, the sergeants, that's what makes a good police department.
Absolutely, and I think we have probably one of the best staffs that I've ever seen. This is a very dedicated group of professionals, and when you look at our teachers, they have all continued to further their education, getting master's degrees, working with a lot of the other grants that we've had going on. That we have a group of teachers that work with Philadelphia called the Children's Literacy Initiative. And the Children's Literacy Initiative was actually funded for us by the Gennardi Foundation and Wachovia Bank. And what it happened to be was it allowed professionals to come in to coach our teachers in building a literate environment and making sure that we're doing all the things for our students in the way of using best practices to heighten their literacy awareness. So that's been actually, that was a really big plus, but that's teachers' time. And they, we have a lot of teachers who volunteered to do that. It takes a
that's
lot
great,
of time on their own to do
You don't find
all these
that
things.
too often. Everybody wants to get their hand out, well, how much is what's it worth? What have I got? When you get that feeling of volunteer to be able to help somebody, that means a lot.
It is, and I think one of the newest things we had this year, when I talk about a dedicated staff, was two of our staff members started a drama club, a third grade and a fourth grade teacher. And with that was all on their time. It was all after school. The students stayed after school. The parents were picking the students up. And they were able to put on a performance called Turkeys Go on Strike. We had 500 people in the audience for that play that night. So that was really, phenomenal. But that was something that was their idea and that they took on and took ownership of, and they've already planned the spring one. So it's something that's going to continue. But I think that's the type of dedication you find. Our teachers mentor each other's children.
What do you pick is the most successful thing that's helpful? What's one thing that you think that makes it a success? That as you're moving along from the time you started this, and you didn't do this overnight. It took time to build this, right?
Yes, it does. But I think, we talked about the staff and the students and our parents and our community partners. But I think what you see in working with the staff is that we absolutely have a staff that does everything they can for every child, whether it's the child in their classroom or just in the building altogether. Everybody considers every child theirs.
Now, you attribute your success of Gotwals School on all these honors to what?
To the dedication of those teachers.
Okay, I hit you with that one, didn't I? I hit you with that one, all
Absolutely.
right.
They are good.
But I would say that, all right, so, the half hour's over. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for allowing us to come into your home, and it's great for me to be able to talk to elementary teachers and principals and lead teacher to tell me what's going on. We don't get back to see that, same thing when you've been driving a car. Do you remember when you went to get a driver's test to pass your test for a driving license? Let's think back to the days and start thinking about your grandchildren or whatever. Maybe you can help them talking about what they did in school. What'd you learn? What'd you learn today? Ask a simple little question. And believe me, we can help each other. One hand washes the other. And I want to shake hands with you.
Thank you, Hank.
And shake hands with
Thank
you. And then I want to give you a nice little token of appreciation.
Thank you very
make sure when
much.
you go in that office, I go in your
absolutely.
office.
It will be
It'll
there
be-
on my desk.
It'll be
Okay.
there. Thanks,
doubt.
Hank.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, great. Gotwals School, Norristown, Pennsylvania. It's on the move, and they're getting all kinds of awards. And why don't you stop in sometime and just
Absolutely.
say hello, okay? So until we meet again, keep bobbing and weaving, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. And then we say in Italian, alla salute, to your health. Ready? Here we go.